thank you and John Carpenter, Deborah Hill, because if it wasn't for you and many others making these films, there would be no Midnight Madness program.
Yeah, far out. Exactly.
I usually welcome people to Midnight Madness, but you are Midnight Madness.
I like that. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, it's Robert Mitchell, and I'm at the 2019 Toronto International Film Festival. I'm here at the opening Midnight Madness film, Blood Quantum. With Rhymes with Young Ghouls, I mean, Burner's literally talking about zombies in the first 2 minutes of the film. So this feels like a natural, like, extension of like your next project. Did you always set out to make a zombie film, or did that idea just come out of the blue?
This has been in the works. It's funny you should mention Rhymes, because the initial idea for Blood Quantum came about TIFF 2007. So this has been a film that's been in the works for quite a while. And Rhymes was a manifestation of the Canadian film organism, the funding organism, saying, like, we're not going to give you the type of money you're going to need to do a film like this. You should show us what you got first. So that's where Rhymes came in, where I wrote it, produced it, directed it in 2 years. So it was always meant to be a practice swing for Blood Quantum. Everything always meant, the only reason you see zombies in Rhymes for Young Ghouls is because we had always intended to do a zombie film. And that's how Rhymes for Young Ghouls manifested. And Blood Quantum was always going to be the project that we worked towards.
Yeah, so Rhymes really led the way then for the film that you were initially trying to make.
Yeah, exactly. Rhymes was always meant to be the precursor for Blood Quantum, because Blood Quantum is the older idea.
It's almost like a prologue.
Exactly. I mean, it's a prologue in the sense that it was we're trying to work out the dynamic of what it would take to produce a horror film, while at the same time kind of reintroducing the history to the Canadian public that they seem to have either swept under the rug or forgotten. And with Rhymes, it was residential schools, and with Blood Quantum, it's this idea of measuring native blood content in the effort to define who is or isn't native.
Could you tell me the character you're playing in Blood Quantum?
I play Trailer.
And when you read Jeff's script, what was it about it that you're like, wow, this is awesome, I'm connecting with this material, I really want to be in this movie?
I think there was not one part of the script, not one word that didn't resonate for me in some way. Jeff's brilliant. Jeff's a beautiful writer. He's a great filmmaker, but actually his scripts are actually quite layered and quite profound, poetic at points, always grimly humorous. The way he uses violence is extraordinary. So, when I read the script, I was like, oh my God, I have to do this movie.
I'm playing Joseph in the film.
And when you read the script, what was it about it that you're like, man, this movie's rad, I got to be in it?
I think it was such an amazing script from the get-go, and the fact that it was like an indigenous zombie film, hearing like those two characteristics, it was like, yeah, I got to be a part of this.
Can you tell me the character you're playing in the film?
I play a character called Bumper, and he's like the biggest, strongest zombie killer.
And what kind of research would you do to prepare for this role?
I just avoided, and this is going to sound racist, but it's not, all non-native people. And it was just a good day experiment I did. Not even a full day. I think I made it like half the afternoon. But my friend said, just try and see how many people you could avoid that you think would be infected. So I just, as a walk around Montreal, anytime I would come close, I would just avoid them.
Was that difficult to do? There's a lot of white people walking around.
You said it.
I did. It's true.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was like, oh wow, that'd be crazy just to think if that actually happened.
And I was I've read that your scripts, and Michael also alluded to it when I spoke to him, that your scripts are really dense. They're like novels. Can you talk about your writing process? Is it something like you do at a set time every day, or what's your writing process like?
I typically write I shoot from the hip in the sense that I look for something that speaks to me, and I structure it around an idea. In this case, it was the idea of making a zombie film. We wanted to do a zombie film because it was just something that I've always wanted to do as a child. It was something that I always wanted to just sink my teeth into. Sorry for the pun.
No, it's cool.
And it manifested as just the idea of doing a zombie film, and then it's like, well, what's the hook? Because everybody was doing zombie films, so you can't just do something that is self-indulgent. So it was like, initially when we were thinking about it, it was like, well, why don't we make the natives immune to the zombie plague? And then it just kind of took off from there. It was, I always start writing it as a short story or a novella, and then I transfer that idea to script, and that's kind of how we came about writing Blood Quantum.
I think this film is exactly of this moment. Interestingly, it was written 14 years ago, and it's taken a long time to make. But the truth of it, the truth of its violence and the metaphor for invasion, right? That's what Indigenous people experience still resonates. It's still powerful. I think to every Indigenous person who watches this film.
You've worked with Jeff before, right? Yeah. So what was that relationship like, and what was it like to be able to do another film with him?
It's just like coming back to family, because we had actually met like in 2005, and then years later, just him coming back with the promise. He was like, "I'm gonna put you in a movie, man," and I was like, "Yeah, how many times you would hear that as an actor?" But he followed through, and it was that was really fun. Rhymes for Ghouls is great, and then the follow up with this, it's like. Being in the same universe, I love the idea that it comes from the same universe as Rhymes.
It's completely amazing and unique, and like, wow, that's finally happening. Like, making these kind of movies.
It's insane. Like, it's so insane to see a film, especially like in this day and age, being made. And it's like, it's an honor to be a part of a film like this.
So, when you were acting and everything in the picture, like, is there a favorite memory you have? Like, wow, I can't believe I'm doing this right now.
Well, I think like just being on set every day with an amazing Indigenous cast, Jeff Barnaby, blood and guts, 100 gallons of blood, like everything that made this film what it was, like just being able to walk around and like either have conversations about being Indigenous or have conversations about killing zombies. Like there's nothing not to love
it's like
about
straddling like genre and like real world stuff.
Exactly, yeah, and that's like what the zombie genre should be, for sure.
I visited Romero's grave today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I came up from San Antonio and then I got to visit him. So
it's so bizarre, man, because he's been such a huge influence on my work, and to see that he passed before, we kind of got a chance to present this to him almost, to see what his legacy has been, the influence he's had. I mean, obviously he's aware of like Walking Dead. I don't remember him having anything positive to say about the film, the show, but I mean, just the idea that he's had this huge impact. It would have been nice to have acknowledged that there was a filmmaker that brought the zombie back into the realm, the political spectrum of social commentary.
what do you hope that audiences take from this picture?
Well, first of all, I hope they have a lot of fun. I hope they're horrified and terrified, because that's the point of this genre. That they're entertained. But what's, I think, profoundly beautiful of Jeff's work is that it always leaves you thinking long after the excitement of the moment passes.
Stonehorse told me that like when you guys were making the film, like in actual production, it was like speaking to what was actually happening, and of course it's addressing the colonial history of Canada and North America. So what was it like to be creating this as things were happening?
It's always quite poignant, because the idea of the political Indian is never really lost, or it's never really come out of the public conscious. So you always have to be hyper self-aware about what you're doing and how you're representing Native people on screen. And I think for us, it was just a matter of presenting Native people as we saw them. Stonehorse is from a reserve, I'm from a reserve, Brandon's from a reserve, so we all kind of wanted to bring that sensibility to the screen because we never really seen it before. It was this idea of presenting Native people as they were and letting the politics handle themselves, as it were. We didn't want to wag any fingers or kind of thump any pulpits. We were just trying to present Native people in this situation as we thought they would react, like bringing that res Indian to a zombie apocalypse. I was really the quintessential idea, and I was just trying to find the people that would manifest that idea the best way possible.